Have you ever had someone tell you, "You're stupid," and for just a moment actually felt that way? Or has someone called you honest, and suddenly you saw yourself as the embodiment of honesty? But how much of who we think we are is really shaped by other people's judgments? In everyday life, we often unconsciously mold ourselves according to what others think, losing connection with our inner voice. The human brain is naturally social. We constantly monitor how we appear in the eyes of others. We do this to secure our place in society. But the problem arises when this instinct becomes uncontrolled. When we rely too heavily on others' perceptions, our identity becomes defined by their labels, and we lose sight of our inner truth. Social psychologist Leonard Berkowitz has noted that being overly sensitive to others' judgments can distort self-perception and undermine self-esteem. He also points out that even temporary social feedback can unconsciously influence personality over time. Sometimes the situation becomes even more complicated when the wrong people give us the wrong value judgments. Psychology tells us that the approval or validation we receive from others, if not rooted in a trustworthy and healthy relationship, is not realistic and can negatively affect our self-esteem. For example, people who constantly criticize, belittle, or praise you to serve their own interests can implant a false sense of self-worth. This can cause us to get lost in other people's shadows, preventing us from seeing our true potential and inner truths. Abraham Maslow also emphasized that safe and supportive relationships are critical for an individual to accurately perceive self-worth and achieve self-actualization. This influence is especially strong during childhood and adolescence. According to Erik Erikson's theory of identity development, young people need to explore and discover their own selves. But the need for social approval can overshadow this process, causing individuals to drift away from their core values. For instance, a child constantly labeled as quiet and reserved at school may actually be outgoing and creative, yet they suppress this side of themselves. Comments from peers like, "You're always serious, you don't know how to have fun," can restrict one's inner freedom and lead to wearing social masks. Carl Rogers said, "The fully functioning person is guided by their own inner voice, not by what others say." Rogers' personality theory emphasizes that understanding one's own experiences and achieving inner harmony must happen independently of others' approval. Research shows that children and adolescents with high self-awareness are less affected by negative social labels, serving as a protective factor. Another critical point is that reality is relative. What one person sees as true, another may see as false. What is true for you may be false for me. Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development shows that a person's perception of reality changes continuously with age, experience, and mental structure. Lev Vygotsky's sociocultural theory adds that much of what we consider reality is constructed through social interactions. The version of us that others see often does not match our inner truth. Examples of this are everywhere in daily life. At work, a manager might call you lazy, even if you complete all your tasks, and you might internalize that label. Among friends, comments like, "You're always serious, you don't know how to have fun," can suppress your playful side. On social media, posts are shaped by likes and validation, creating a dependent self-esteem. So, how can we develop an identity independent of others' judgments? The answer is self-awareness. Self-awareness means understanding our own values, emotions, thoughts, and boundaries, and not changing them based on others' approval. Carl Jung said, "He who does not confront his own shadow will be lost in the roles others assign to him." Unacknowledged or rejected aspects of ourselves influence our behavior in hidden and uncontrolled ways. Daniel Goleman's research on emotional intelligence shows that recognizing our own emotions and how we respond to others' emotions provides conscious control over our identity. Mindfulness practices also help us hear our inner voice independently of others' judgments. This process can feel intimidating because humans are naturally dependent on social approval. We all want to be accepted and fear rejection. But when we develop our inner compass, other people's opinions become mere data points, not the determinants of who we are. Connecting with our inner selves gives us courage, freedom, and creativity. Making choices in alignment with our inner truths forms the foundation of mental well-being. Jung said, "To live your own life is to step out of the shadows of others." Positive psychology supports this. Individuals focused on self-determined goals and driven by intrinsic motivation demonstrate higher well-being and resilience, whereas those dependent on others' approval experience more stress and anxiety. In everyday life, small steps are enough to notice the difference. Prioritize your own thoughts, feelings, and decisions, and view others' comments critically. For example, if a friend says, "You can't do this," instead of accepting it, remind yourself of your abilities. At work, stand by your ideas without waiting for approval. On social media, post as a true expression of yourself, not for likes. Studies show that daily reflective writing helps individuals clarify their values and reinforce their inner narrative. Small but consistent choices liberate our identity from the gaze of others. Ultimately, letting others define who we are is an illusion. Self-awareness is both a psychological necessity and a spiritual freedom. The highest virtue of being human is to live according to our inner voice, not in the shadow of others. Our authentic identity is the most powerful tool to transform both ourselves and the world around us. When we embrace our true selves, we can live boldly, authentically, and passionately. Viktor Frankl said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies both growth and freedom. The ability to choose our identity independently of others' expectations is our true power and freedom. Stepping out of the shadows of others is essential not only for mental health, but also to realize our full potential. Finding and honoring your true self is the most transformative path in life." Now, I want to ask you, how dependent are you on other people's opinions in your daily life? Do what others say truly define how you feel about yourself, or can you choose to listen to your own inner voice? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience might inspire someone else to step out of the shadows and start discovering their authentic self.